Ancient humans defended themselves against predators. If you could travel back in time about 500,000 years and step onto the grasslands of Africa or the open woodlands of Eurasia, the first thing that would astonish you would not be human beings. It would be the predators. The world did not belong to us then. It belonged to creatures that had ruled the top of the food chain long before our ancestors learned to shape stone, sharpen wood, or gather around fire. As the sun disappeared beyond the horizon, an ancient law awakened. Eyes opened in the darkness, and the hunt began. Across Africa, ancient lions and giant hyenas dominated the grassland. In Europe, cave lions, massive wolves, and giant bears moved through forests and open plains. In other regions, saber-toothed cats waited silently in the shadows, built not for long pursuit, but for one devastating strike. And humans were almost perfectly vulnerable. No claws, no fangs, no thick hide, no horn, no great speed, no overwhelming strength. Seen through the eyes of a predator, our ancestors were not kings of nature. They were prey. A lone human gathering roots near a stream could be ambushed before even hearing a sound. A child wandering too far from the group might vanish into the grass. A tired adult returning after sunset could become part of the food chain before the night was over. Current research indicates that bite marks on hominin fossils reveal a brutal truth. Our ancestors were not only hunters. At times, they were hunted. So why did we not disappear? The answer did not begin with a weapon. It began with a realization. Alone, a human was vulnerable. Together, humans became difficult. Imagine a small group approaching a watering hole during a dry season. On the opposite side, a pride of lions appears. The distance between two groups shrink. No one speaks. The humans stop, the lions stop too. Because predators do not attack blindly. Every hunt is a calculation. A wounded lion may not hunt again. A broken leg can mean starvation. Even a small injury can turn a predator into the next victim of nature. So predators seek weakness. The isolated, the frightened, the one that runs. But 10 humans standing shoulder to shoulder, raising spears, waving branches, shouting from every direction, that is no longer easy. That is risk. This was one of humanity's earliest advantages, cooperation. Some watched the grass, some watched the sky, some gathered food, some protected children. Some remembered where danger had appeared before, and slowly, across generations, survival became less dependent on the strength of one body and more dependent on the intelligence of the group. Many encounters still ended in injury or death, but groups that cooperated better survived more often. They protected their children, they cared for the wounded, they passed knowledge to the young. A child did not need to personally face a lion to learn how dangerous tall grass could be. Someone told them, someone remembered, someone had survived before. That may have been humanity's first true weapon. Not stone, not fire, not the spear, but shared memory. The ability to turn one person's survival into everyone's knowledge, and yet, cooperation had limits. During the day, a united group could make predators hesitate. But when night fell, the balance shifted again. Predators could see, smell, and move through darkness far better than humans. Every sound became uncertain. Every shadow became a possible threat. Humanity needed something more. Something that could turn darkness itself into a boundary. Then came fire. Perhaps no discovery changed human destiny more than the moment our ancestors made a decision not to run from fire, but to keep it alive. Imagine sitting beneath a cold night sky hundreds of thousands of years ago. Beyond a small circle of light, the world is almost invisible. The wind moves through the grass. Hyenas call in the distance. Every sound makes the body tense. But tonight, something is different. At the center of the group, flames are burning. They are small. They do not conquer the night, but they divide it. On one side, darkness, fear, and hidden movement. On the other, light, warmth, and the faces of your companion. Fire became humanity's first wall. Not a wall of stone, not a wall of wood, a wall of light. For many wild animals, fire is unpredictable. It moves strangely. It burns. It endures. A predator does not need to understand it to fear the risk of coming too close. And that small distance may have saved countless lives. Around fire, humans could remain awake longer. They could repair tools, share food, care for children, protect the elders, and speak into the night. The hearth became more than a source of heat. It became a place of memory. A place where stories could be told, where danger could be described, where children learn without dying first. Current research suggests that time spent around the hearth may have helped strengthen language, social bonding, and oral tradition. When the body could finally rest in relative safety, the mind had more room to observe, remember, and imagine. One small fire created a new kind of life, a night where humans were no longer only afraid. They were learning. Fire transformed the night, but when dawn returned, humans still had to step beyond its protection. They still faced animals that were faster, stronger, and far more dangerous than themselves. To survive beneath the sun, they needed more than light. They needed distance. Imagine standing before a white bovine weighing nearly a ton. Move only a few steps closer and you'll enter its charging range. One strike of its horn could shatter your rib. One kick could end your life. Now imagine never having to get that close. That simple idea changed everything. Scientists believe that wooden spears were among humanity's earliest hunting weapons. At first, they were nothing more than sharpened branches, simple in appearance, yet revolutionary in purpose. For the first time, humans could confront danger without standing directly inside it. Only a few extra meters separate the hunter from prey. Sometimes, a few meters are the difference between life and death. Over generations, those simple spears evolved. Stone points were carefully attached to wooden shafts with plant fibers, tree resin, and animal seed. Archaeologists call this innovation hafting, combining of different materials into a single tool stronger than any one of its parts. No predator in nature could do that. A lion could not replace its claws. A wolf could not lengthen its. Humans alone learned to redesign the bodies that evolution had given them. A spear became a longer arm. A stone point became a sharper tool. An axe became strength beyond human muscle. Technology had begun to evolve faster than biology. Instead of waiting thousands of generations for a stronger body, humans could improve their chances of survival within a single lifetime simply by improving their tool. Then another breakthrough appeared. What if a spear could travel even farther? Current research suggests that later Stone Age hunters developed the atlatl, or spear thrower, a simple lever that launched spears with a greater speed, greater force, and far greater range than the human arm alone. The instance became humanity's greatest advantage. But these inventions did not appear by chance. Every improvement came from observation. Watching the movement of animals, studying the wind, learning this landscape, remembering failures, sharing successful technique. Behind every weapon stood countless generations of accumulated experience. No one was born knowing how to shape stone or balance a spear. Someone taught them. Someone had already failed. Someone had already survived. That may have been humanity's greatest invention, not the spear itself, but the mind capable of imagining a better one. From that moment forward, human evolution became more than physical adaptation. It became intellectual evolution. An intelligence able to preserve the past, improve the present, and prepare for the future. That ability changed survival forever. Imagine a child standing beside the evening fire. The child has never encountered a lion, never tracked a wolf, never joined a hunt. Yet before ever leaving camp alone, the child already knows how to avoid thick grass, stay clear of abandoned carcass, notice unusual bird calls, and listen carefully when the forest suddenly becomes silent. How? Not through instinct, through teaching. Scientists believe humans are among the very few species capable of cumulative culture. The ability to build knowledge across generations instead of beginning from nothing each time. One person's mistake became everyone's lesson. A hunter discovered where lions prefer to ambush. He shared that knowledge. His children survived. Their children added something new. Generation after generation. Tiny fragments of experience accumulated into an invisible inheritance more valuable than any physical weapon. Every newborn entered the world already filled with knowledge earned by people who had lived and died long before them. Yet the human brain possessed another extraordinary ability. It could imagine events that had never happened. Picture a hunting party approaching a valley. Everything seems quiet. No predator is visible. Still the group changes direction, not because danger is present, because danger is possible. Current research indicates that one of humanity's defining cognitive abilities is mental simulation, the capacity to imagine future scenarios, evaluate risks, and choose safer actions before events unfold. Humans no longer reacted only to the world they saw. They prepared for the world they imagined. They placed traps before prey arrived. They avoid danger before danger appeared. They anticipated nature instead of merely responding to it. And language multiplied that advantage beyond anything evolution has seen before. A single warning could save an entire community. A story could preserve decades of experience. Knowledge no longer disappeared when one individual died. Information had become a survival tool. The more people shared it, the stronger every generation became. Knowledge alone, however, could not stop a lion already walking toward you. In that moment, survival depended on something else. Imagine crossing an open grassland. There is nowhere to hide, only tall grass stretching toward the horizon. Then, without warning, a lion steps into view. Every instinct inside your body urges you to do one thing: run. For most animals, that is exactly what happened. An antelope flees. A zebra bolts. Prey survives through escape. But our ancestors gradually discovered a different strategy. Instead of turning away, they stood their ground. Spears were raised. Branches were lifted overhead. Voices erupted from every direction. At first glance, it may seem reckless, yet from the perspective of evolutionary biology, it was remarkably rational. Predators are not fearless. Every hunt carries risk. A broken tooth, a wounded shoulder, a damaged leg. Any injury could leave a hunter unable to feed itself for a week. That is why lions rarely seek unnecessary conflict. They search for weakness. An isolated animal, a frightened one that turns and runs. Running announces something unmistakable. I am prey. Standing together sends a different message. I am ready to fight. Anthropologists believe our ancestors gradually learned to exploit the psychology. They did not need to overpower a lion. They only needed to make it hesitate. Sometimes, a few seconds of hesitation were enough to save an entire community. Even today, some hunter-gatherer societies living alongside dangerous predators preserve remarkably similar behavior. Rather than panicking immediately, they gather together, remain calm, make themselves appear larger, and create as much noise as possible. Of course, it did not always work. Many people still died. Human evolution was never a story without loss. Every successful strategy existed because countless failures had come before it. Around the evening fire, elders spoke not only of successful hunts, but of those who never returned. They warned children about wandering alone, about ignoring strange silence in the forest, about allowing fear to become panic. These stories were never simple entertainment. They were survival manuals disguised as memory. Each elder became a living library. Each story became another layer of humanity's collective intelligence. Perhaps the greatest lesson of our ancestors learned was not how to eliminate fear, it was how to master it. Fear itself was never the enemy. Panic was. The racing heartbeat, the trembling hands, the instinct to flee, those reactions were natural. But our ancestors gradually learned to transform emotion into information. Instead of asking, how do I escape? They learned to ask, what is the safest decision? That shift in thinking became one of humanity's greatest evolutionary advantages. Eventually, another question emerged. If humans could defend themselves, could they also become hunters? Slowly, the balance of nature began to change. A hunting party no longer relied on speed or strength alone. They observed the wind. They studied the terrain. They predicted where animals would move. Every member understood a role. Some circled behind. Others waited ahead. Some drove the herd. Others prepared for the final ambush. There was no longer instinct. It was planning. Scientists believe long-term planning allowed humans to surpass nearly every other predator. A successful hunt offered far more than meat. Animal hides became clothing. Bones became needles and tools. Sinew became cord. Fat became fuel. Nothing was wasted. Nature was no longer simply consumed. It was understood. Cooperation expanded beyond families. Humans shared food with injured hunters. They cared for children who could not yet contribute. Communities survived because individuals supported one another. Current research suggests that these increasingly complex social networks made early human groups more resilient than almost any other large predator. A lion depended on the strength of its pride. A wolf relied on his pack. Humans relied on something far greater. A growing network of cooperation, innovation, and shared knowledge that extended far beyond blood relationships. With every generation, tools improved. Strategies became more sophisticated. Knowledge spread farther. While the bodies of predators changed only slowly through evolution, humanity evolved through culture. Not through stronger muscles, not through sharper teeth, but through ideas. Ideas that could improve endlessly. Ideas that no predator could inherit, through instinct alone. As humanity became more skilled at cooperation, planning, and innovation, although transformation quietly unfolded, it did not happen in a single generation, nor was it marked by one decisive battle. It unfolded over thousands of years. Imagine waking one morning about 12,000 years ago. A river still flowed. A forest still swayed in the wind. The sky looked unchanged. Yet the world was becoming different. Across continents, many of the great giants that had dominated the Ice Age were disappearing. The vast herds of mammoths became smaller. Mastodons vanished from North America. The American lion, the giant short-faced bear, enormous kangaroos in Australia, and a dozen of all the remarkable species slowly faded from Earth's landscape. What happened? Scientists continue to debate that question today. One powerful force was climate change. As the Ice Age ended, temperatures rose, grasslands retreated, forests expanded, ecosystems shifted rapidly, forcing many specialized animals into environments they were never adapted to survive. But climate alone may not tell the whole story. Archaeological evidence shows that in many regions, the arrival of modern humans closely coincided with the decline of numerous large animals. As human populations expanded, as hunting techniques improved, as cooperation became increasingly sophisticated, many already vulnerable animals' populations faced new pressures unlike any they had experienced before. Researchers continue to debate exactly how much each factor contributed. Some emphasize environmental change, others point to human hunting. Many conclude that both forces work together, pushing numerous species beyond their ability to recover. Perhaps the most important lesson is not deciding which explanation deserves the greatest weight. It is recognizing what humanity had become. For the first time in evolutionary history, a single species possessed the ability to reshape entire ecosystems. Not overnight, but steadily, generation after generation, humans no longer adapted only to nature. Increasingly, nature adapted to humans. Current research suggests this transformation unfolded gradually alongside advances in technology, communication, and cooperation. Communities spread into new environments, carrying with them knowledge accumulated across hundreds of thousands of years. Whenever people settled, landscapes slowly changed. Some changes created opportunities, others carries lasting ecological consequences. Either way, the relationship between humanity and the natural world had entered an entirely new chapter. Yet perhaps the most remarkable legacy of that ancient struggle is not found in fossils or stone tools. It lives inside us. Every sudden glance over your shoulder after hearing an faintest sound. Every instinct to scan a dark room before entering. Every moment of caution when walking through an unfamiliar place. These are more than habits. They're echoes of an ancient world, where recognizing danger only seconds earlier could determine whether someone lived long enough to see another sunrise. Our ancestors did not defeat the world's greatest predators because they became physically stronger. They prevailed because every generation inherited more knowledge than the one before. They learned to cooperate instead of facing danger alone. They imagined the future instead of reacting only to the present. They transformed fear into discipline, experience into culture, ideas into technology. And step by step, those invisible advantages became more powerful than claws, fangs, or brute strength. That is the extraordinary story hidden behind humanity's survival. Not the triumph of the strongest, but the triumph of intelligence.